Good morning and welcome along to the show today. I'm glad to have you on board here for AFTV News Daily, the early edition. Hope you've all woken up in good spirits today as we continue over here in the UK anyway with the big lockdown. Told yesterday it's probably going to continue on now for about another 3 weeks at least. Even when they're saying it, they're not even saying that this is going to be the end of it. At least another 3 weeks. And I suppose what we got to do now is we just have to get used to this, right? This is like, at the moment, it's the new normal, being stuck inside, doing streams and stuff like that. But what I want to say is I've been really grateful for the response that we've been getting on these streams. The amount of people that come on every day and watch these live has been absolutely incredible. So thank you very much for that. Also, to remind you, as we talk about streams, about tomorrow, the big thing that we're doing tomorrow, AFTV teaming up with United Stand. And what we're going to be doing is a special 24-hour stream. We ain't getting no sleep this weekend. We're going for 24 hours. And the whole purpose of it is football fans for the NHS. We're going to be raising money for the NHS. It's a massive fundraiser. Please get on. If you can donate. We've got a Just Giving page. We're going to put that in the description. People have been donating already. It's been absolutely incredible. So thank you very much for that. But we're going to have like loads and loads of guests on right throughout the 24 hours. I've reached out to loads of people, and I've got to say thank you to all of them. Everybody literally has just said, yeah, Robbie, I'm in. So we're going to have loads of guests coming on. We're going to be doing lots of stuff with you guys, reading out your comments. You can put questions to some of the guests that we have coming on. It's going to be brilliant, right? So make sure you get involved. It's kicking off tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon, and then it runs right through till the next day at 12 o'clock. 3 hours on each channel. So it starts off 3 hours on AFTV, then it swaps over onto United Stand, 3 hours, then back to us, back. You get it, vice versa, right through the morning. Going till 12. And as I said, we're going to raise lots and lots of money for the NHS. So please, please, please get involved with that. It's going to be brilliant. Right, let's get stuck into the news today. And first of all, let me kick off with this one. Now, I've been saying for a couple of days that, you know, in all this talk about pay cuts and stuff like that, I've been saying, where is Stan Kroenke? What are you going to do, Mr. Kroenke, as regards everything? It's all right asking the players to take pay cuts and staff to take deductions and stuff like that, but where are you? What are you going to be doing? Well, to be fair, it's emerged this morning that Stan Kroenke has agreed to give the club a major cash injection. That is the phrase that is coming out. That is what's been put out to the media, that he's going to be giving the club a major cash injection to help the club to get through this coronavirus crisis. Now, will that major cash injection just be for, you know, to pay staff wages and to cover, obviously, the shortfalls that are going to be happening at the club? Or does that include, as well as doing that, transfers as well? Because we all know that, you know, we desperately want to get some new players in. But I think it's very encouraging. And, you know, I'm a person, I like to give praise and credit where it's due. If this is true and he is going to be putting a major, and that is the word that has been used, a major cash injection into the club, then he needs to be applauded. And that is exactly the sort of leadership we want to be seeing from our owner in a time like this, when basically we are in a real crisis at the moment. So let's wait and see what happens with that. But that is good news, I think, that Stan Kroenke going to be putting his hand in his pocket and giving the club a major cash injection. He's going to be well down after this, because remember, it's not just Arsenal. He owns the Denver Nuggets basketball team. They're going to need an injection, I'm sure. You know what I mean? He owns the LA Rams. That's the big one, because he's building a new stadium out over there in LA. I was watching the news over there in America yesterday, and they were talking about how they may not have any big gatherings for a year. So he's going to take a major hit. The timing of that new stadium couldn't have come at a worse time for him. So he's going to take a major hit with that. So the fact that he's going to be putting major money into Arsenal, again, we'll have to wait and see how major that is. And does that also help out with transfers? but definitely, you know, that's good to see that he's doing that, and we applaud him for that. Also, there's still talk that, you know, a lot of negotiations going on with the players about this pay cut. Now, we've spoken about this quite a lot of times. It was said that, you know, they want the players to take a 12.5% pay cut if they don't get into the Champions League, 7.5% pay cut if they only make the Europa League. The talk is that the players are against this. They're not happy with this. They don't want to agree to it. But Mikel Arteta, the manager, has been urging the players to take this cut, and also that, you know, the owners and the players are still negotiating, you know, the possibility of this cut. The players would rather take a pay deferral, which means, you know, what a pay deferral is basically, you don't have to pay us right now. You can pay us when things pick up again. But they don't seem to be very happy with the whole pay cut circumstance. But if the owner of the club is now saying, I'm going to put money in, the execs have come out, remember, and said they're taking waiving a massive part of their wages for 12 months. Now I do think this is when it starts to come down to the players to say, well, come on, now you guys, we know you've done a lot for the NHS, and that's fantastic, but we're going to need a bit of your help now as well. So I'm liking how it's all going now. This is how it should be. You know, the leaders leading by example, and then going down now to the players and saying, what can you do? They can't force the players to do anything, but what can you do? When those sort of things are being done, I think you're going to come to a better conclusion with this whole thing. So let's see how that one develops. Also, I'm interested about Mikel Arteta. Now, Arteta has apparently come out and said to the owners of the club that I want to fill 3 positions this summer. There are 3 key positions that I think I need to fill this summer to get Arsenal back on track. There will be some of us saying that, you know, we need to fill more than 3 positions, but he's identified 3 key positions that he would like to fill. Now, one of those positions is a centre-back. The other one of those positions is a defensive midfielder, and the other one is as an attacker. He doesn't make it really specific whether it's a striker or whether it's just an attacking midfielder, but he says an attacker. So apparently he's gone to the board and he said, those are the 3 positions that I would like to fill. Now, obviously, centre-back, you know, I think every Arsenal fan would love to see somebody like a Upamecano come in. That would be perfect. We've got Saliba coming in. What's going to happen with Pablo Mari? That's the other thing. And also, you know, Cedric, you know, 2 guys that have come in on loan. Remember, the season could still yet be completed, and we'll have to wait and see what would happen with those guys, or what's going to happen to those guys. But Upamecano would be perfect. Whether we'll have the money to do it or not, that's what we're going to have to wait and see. It could be that it's a Pablo Mari that comes in that position, but Upamecano would be perfect if he wants to fill the centre-back position. Defensive midfielder position, which he said as well, Partey would be perfect for it, but again, would cost a lot of money. But somebody like a Partey would make a great addition to that position. And, you know, could Arsenal be looking at bringing somebody like him in that position? And then there's the attacking position. Could that be Coutinho, you know, a sort of an attacking midfielder who can score a lot of goals? Or could it be, if Aubameyang went, could it be somebody like a Jovic? Although Real Madrid are making a lot of noises that they are not going to be selling him this summer. But could it be, say, somebody like him? I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with all these positions. It's going to be down to money, isn't it? It's going to come down to how much money Arsenal are going to have available to spend. But certainly, if he's looking to fill 3 positions, you know, and as I said, he seems to have made it pretty clear: centre-back, defensive midfielder, and an attacker. Who do you guys think those 3 players should be? Really love to hear from you guys. Who would you like those 3 players to be. And also, it's rumored that, you know, Arteta is looking to move a few players out as well. So who would he want to move out? But particularly, I'd like to hear from you in those 3 positions. Who do you think would be best suited to bring in? So centre back, defensive midfielder, and an attacker. Those are the 3 positions he's saying that he's seeking at the moment. So let me know what you think would be the best in those positions. Another really interesting story, and just to show you that it's not just Arsenal that is going to be suffering in this period. There are other clubs. Every club's going to be suffering, but some clubs are taking a big hit. Tottenham. I couldn't believe this news when I heard this, right? Pochettino, remember, who was sacked by Tottenham. Now, he's still on gardening leave. What happens a lot of times when a manager gets sacked by a football club, you know, they got contracts. So you can't just turn around to a manager and say, right, you're sacked. See ya. Bye. They've still got a contract. So you still got to, you know, pay them off or put them on gardening leave or stuff like that. So Pochettino is apparently on gardening leave until he finds another job. He's still being paid £8.5 million a year by Tottenham until he finds a new job. Hence why he's in no rush to find a new job. You know what I mean? If he finds a job like a Man United or something that perfectly suits him, he'll take that. But he's not just rushing into anything right now because he's still being paid by Tottenham. Now, Tottenham have apparently approached him and said, could you take a pay cut? Imagine that for the player. A manager that you've sacked. You're asking, can you take a pay cut? Offer the 8.5 million. And also they're still paying his backroom staff as well, Pochettino's backroom staff. And they've had to approach them because none of them have found jobs yet and say, can you take a cut in the money that we're paying you? Now, what would you do if you was Pochettino? The club that sacked you, Daniel Levy, the person that sacked you, you know, overnight you were replaced by Mourinho. Would you take a pay cut? I don't know if I would. I'd be like, yo, I never told you to sack me. Pay up my money. But that's a really interesting story. It just gives you a real insight into how the whole sacking and transfer stuff works, you know. But wow, you know what I mean? When I saw that was unbelievable. Let's get into some of your comments. As I'm saying, who do you think would be perfect to fill those positions? Louis69 says Upamecano, Partey, and Coutinho would be lovely. So he'd go with those 3 that I mentioned. So you know, he thinks that those 3 would be perfect. But what do you think? What do you think? Umtiti, Ndidi, and let Saka or Martinelli take the left wing slot. Okay. Remember, that's the other thing. Saka has still not been tied down on a new deal. It's interesting to see. I think it's David Ornstein today reporting that Arsenal have literally not had a chance to sit down yet with Saka because of this whole coronavirus thing to sort out his new deal. Need to get that done as soon as possible. There's teams like Borussia Dortmund and that hovering, willing to take him. We've got to get that whole Saka thing sorted out as well. Neilio here says, happy Friday, Robbie. Give me a D for Daya Upamecano, a P for Thomas Partey, and Coutinho. Only if it wouldn't put a dent in Arsenal's wage pocket, but he'd be up for those 3. However, Samuel's saying get Coutinho because our midfield is rubbish since Ramsey left. So yeah, there's quite a few of you there suggesting those 3. Of course, those 3 would be very expensive. 3, you know, that's the thing. You know, what sort of money is going to be available to be bringing in these type of players? You know what I mean? So, you know, this guy here is obviously taking the mick. Phil Jones, Milner, and Lingard. Right, you're obviously not an Arsenal fan. Here's another one here. PV. Now this could be doable. Jonathan Tah, by Leverkusen, Partey, and Nabil Fekir, who, by the way, last season, or was it the season before, when Liverpool were after him, and you know, a real top player. gone out, hasn't really worked out for him since he's left Lyon, and would be available on quite wouldn't be as expensive as you thought, and he's a top player. Sam the man says use part of the injection to give Aubameyang a bumper contract. Very interesting there. Yes, of course, it's about who do we keep hold of as well. That's the other thing as well. James Bell says, Robbie, what about Decore? Very solid and underrated. Wouldn't cost that much either. Do you rate Mario Götze? Götze is apparently going to be okay to leave Dortmund, but I think that I think that's sailed. That boat has sailed for me. Robbie, would you take Grealish? Of course, I'll take Grealish. I rate him as a player. He needs to sort out his off-field stuff, but I rate him as a player. However, I just don't think we'll have the money to buy a Jack Grealish. You're talking about mega money. Here's somebody else taking a mic. Was he? Is that a Leicester fan there? Right, right. Smalley, Longstaff, Lingard, and Benteke. He's saying, right? No, thank you. But lots of people seem to be suggesting Thomas Partey. Again, Thomas Partey, and keep Pablo Mari. So that's interesting. Remember, Mari wouldn't be that expensive. Mari's already at the club on loan and would love a permanent move. Haven't seen enough of him yet through the games, but you never know. He could be the answer. Excuse me. The JLK, says Koulibaly, Pepe, Gay, and Fekir. You're getting greedy now. Money's short. We're going to get money for Koulibaly. I mean, don't get me wrong. He'd be perfect. But nah, where are we going to get? Where would we get those funds? I just can't see a Koulibaly thing's not going to happen for now. And it all depends what Stan puts in, and it all depends what they sanction. Here's another one. Irish Gruner says Shane Duffy. That's the original one. Partey and Matt Doherty, Wolves. Interesting. That's a different selection. That's a different selection. How about John Fleck, Robbie? Looking for better. He's done well, but I'm looking for sort of better quality than that as well at the moment. Because to me, it's got to be like really stepping up in quality now. Really stepping up in quality. Wavy Guna says Max Aarons, Upamecano, Partey, Ramsey, Keita, and Ousmane Dembele. Where are we going to get all that money from? What much do you think Stan's going to put in? It could be just all he's just doing is covering the wages, man. What bloody hell? Where are we going to get that? Dunk, Partey, and Havertz. That'd be great. Can't see it. Again, Havertz alone, you're talking 80 million. I think Havertz is probably going to end up at Bayern. He wants to stay in Germany. Bayern want him. Seems like that'd be more the destination that he will end up heading up. He's a quality player. Love him. YT says, Don Robbie, instead of going after big names, we could go after players who often go under the radar, i.e. the hidden gems. P.S. Coutinho isn't Neymar, Robbie. He isn't Neymar, but he's better than what we've got at the moment. That's what I'd say. Havertz, Partey, and Edouard, says Yassine. Again, it's the Havertz. Partey could be doable. And as I said, I do get the feeling that if Arsenal went in and got a Partey, that would be signalling the end of Torreira. It would either have to be Torreira or Xhaka. One of those two would need to be going out if we bought in a Partey. And from what I've seen of Arteta so far, he seems to prefer, Xhaka to Torreira. So, the Edouard thing, if Edouard come in, you're then probably looking at Aubameyang going. And Havertz would be very expensive. But then I suppose, by the end of next year, there'd be no sort of Ozil on the wage bill. So, you could look on it in that way. Looking ahead, maybe it could be a possibility. So, someone there saying, again, Dunk, Fraser, and Decore. Dunk, of course, Brighton defender. Fraser, it would be available on a free transfer, so it wouldn't be too much money. And Decore would cost a lot of money, but wouldn't. I would have thought 30, 40 million could get you Decore, probably cheaper to get, well, say 40 million, be cheaper than getting Partey. And maybe a club like Watford, maybe one of those sort of clubs that this economic downturn is going to hit them harder than most clubs because they're a smaller club. Maybe they might be willing to cash in on a Decore. So if Arsenal in a position to try and get somebody like that. Here, Vertonghen, ex-Tottenham Vertonghen. He's available on a free, all right. I hear that, but I think he's done. Partey swap for Lacazette and Willian on a free. Remember, Willian's available on a free. So that's that one there doesn't cost a lot because you got Vertonghen on a free, Willian on a free. Two players used to playing in the Premier League, obviously, and then you'd sink your money into Partey. And I suppose if Arsenal sold, a couple of players, that would be very easily doable. Theodore says, how much for Ndidi do you think? I think Ndidi be a very expensive. What are we talking about with Partey? Up to 50 million, Ndidi would be the same for me. I like Ndidi, and I would have Ndidi tomorrow. But I think he'd be the same sort of money as a Partey because, he's Premier League proven. He's at a club that's doing very well at the moment as well. So it'd be very hard to prize him away. And they'd want a king's ransom for him, for sure. So let's get this one here. Savoy says, Upamecano, Coutinho on loan. Partey or Aurier, and bring back Rambo and bring Willian. He's best friends with David Luiz. Obviously, Willian would be available on a free, but he probably wants some decent wages. And then again, in that attacking position, a wide player like Willian, I still think he's a quality player, but obviously he's in his 30s now. Would we need a player like Willian? We've got enough wide players, I feel. I feel in those wide areas we're all right. But then I suppose you could look on it and say, right, if say somebody like an Aubameyang shifted out, then quite possibly you could bring somebody like a Willian into that position. Can't get this one up on the screen at the moment. It's the Blind Gooner. He says, for me, if we got Partey, Ryan Fraser, and Philip Coutinho, he says that would be an okay window. Okay, that would be a brilliant window. And SB says, with another super chat, thanks for that. He says, Issa Diop, Ryan Fraser, and Ismaili Sarr. That'd be expensive. Issa Diop wouldn't be cheap because West Ham would want a lot of money for him. Quality player. I like him. I like Issa Diop. I think he's going to become a top centre-back. Ryan Fraser would be available on free, but Ismaili Sarr, remember Watford only paid 30 million for him last season. And again, I don't think we need a wide player. I don't think we need a wide player because we've got enough. We need to fill the areas where we need, and that to me wouldn't be areas that we require. Given Edgar says, so we keep Xhaka and sell Torreira. You guys are crazier than Corona, right? I'm not saying that that's what I do. I'm saying that for me, that would be more than likely what Arsenal would do because you've only got to look at the playing time. Since Arteta's come in, Xhaka, he's a fixture. He plays every week. Torreira doesn't. Torreira, we've heard rumours that, he'd like to go back to Italy. There's lots of clubs in Italy that would like to take him. So that's why I'd say, I'd rather keep Torreira, but I think, going by what I've seen, they'd rather hold on to Xhaka. I'm just saying it as it is. Mohammed says, Coutinho, Partey, and Ndidi. Well, Partey and Ndidi, you wouldn't need both of them, would you? You wouldn't need both of those players. John McGinn and Jose Jimenez. Jimenez, I rate. John McGinn's a quality player, actually. But he's been out for quite a long time this season with injury. So I'm not sure if McGinn would come into Arsenal's thoughts. Would you take Immobile? Says Arsenal Vlogs. Says, yeah, Immobile's been having a fantastic season. I do note, though, that he, again, is another player that's just coming into, he's 30, I think, as well. So why would we move out one 30-year-old in Aubameyang and bring in another one? You know, Immobile's been on fire. You know, and he's a strange player because, you know, he's sometimes if you play that guy to the right system and he's at the right club, he can be a top player. I don't know if our system at Arsenal would suit him. When he was at Borussia Dortmund, he didn't really hit it off, you know what I mean, all the time because, again, the system maybe didn't suit him. But he is a very good player, very good player. Again here, Tar, Partey and Doucouré and Jota make it happen. That's 4. I said to you, Arteta, you guys are getting greedy now. I said Arteta said he wants 3 positions, yeah? Centre-back, defensive midfielder and attacker. So give me 3. You're trying to get greedy with 4. You know what I mean? What's up with these guys? Coutinho, Partey, and Duffy. Quite a few of you guys are sort of going for those targets. So, you know, lots of them still coming in. Another greedy person here, Upamecano, Partey, and Aurier. In an ideal world, that would be perfect, but it's not an ideal world. Money's short. Nathan Ake, Partey, and Jimenez. That's a good 3. That's a very good 3. You know, Nathan Ake is a good player. Versatile as well. Can play as a centre-back, can also play right back, left back. You know, very flexible player. Upamecano, Partey, and Van der Beek. Now, those would be 3 quality players. But again, I think somebody earlier who sort of did it in their combination where they had like Partey as a kind of the expensive player, and then the other 2 players were sort of cheap options on loan or players that, you know what I mean? I can more see that. So maybe I could see something like a Pablo Mari, very cheap. A Partey as your expensive player, and then maybe another player that's maybe a loan or something like that. I can more see something like that. But you know, or we would all love to see these very expensive players coming in, but you know, it's just not going to happen. Not this time around. Eric says Ake, Doucouré, and Felipe Anderson is not had a great season. Excuse me, not had a great season at West Ham. But you know, you're offering him as an alternative there. But yeah, he hasn't had a great season. I do rate Felipe Anderson, but he seems to be one of these players that goes a bit hot and cold. Joe Gomez, Partey, and Coutinho. Why would Liverpool sell Joe Gomez? You know. Ambessa says, what do you think about the Kurzawa soon done deal for Arsenal? There's lots of talk that, again, Arsenal are going to sign Lervin Kurzawa from PSG on a free transfer. Why? It's the strangest. I mean, it was there in January, and at that time I was saying, why? Why would all right, we could even if we sold Kolasinac. Even if we sold Kolasinac, which looks like Arsenal might be willing to let Kolasinac go, what advantage is there in bringing in Kurzawa? We've got Saka and Tierney. We don't need Kurzawa. To me, use that money and go and get someone else. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm hoping that deal doesn't come off. I'm not excited by that at all, even though, again, it wouldn't cost anything because he'd be available on a free. But we've really got players in that position. Edgar says we need goal scorer from midfield like Golovin. Golovin from Monaco, of course, the Russian player, young box-to-box and highly rated in France. Plus Arsenal fan Edouard and Mari. Wouldn't be the most glamorous of three, but, you know. Kanté, Umtiti, and Mbappe. All right, mate, yeah. I can see somebody who's been drinking a lot in isolation. Kurzawa is a dead signing. Should have signed him years ago when he was actually decent, says Frank. Green LP84 says Saka is not a left back. Work it out. I know he's not naturally a left back, but for me, he's stepped into left back and he's been brilliant. He's been brilliant. And if money is short, you've got your left back in Tierney and you've got him who can step into left back. Use the money in other areas and maybe turn him into a left back, because I think he's so good that, and he's going to get so little time playing as a left winger. Turn him into a left back. Why not? That's where he's played for most of the season when he's come in. So, I know he's not a left back. I know he's a midfielder, but what is it? Ashley Cole was a forward, was a winger to start off with. Turned out to be probably the best left back Arsenal have ever had, or one of the best. So why can't Saka become a left back? S Winning says Ake in for Mustafi and Dide or Partey in for Xhaka. Play Lacazette behind Aubameyang, and then Martinelli or Saka to play on the left. Insigne for a free, says Alexander. I didn't realize Insigne was coming to. I think I was reading the other day where Insigne, they're trying to get him signed up to a new deal, but I didn't realize that his contract is coming to an end. He's a quality player. Jake says Mings, that must be Tyrone Mings, Partey and Ben Yedder. Ben Yedder, very good player. Again, it's three very expensive players in there, because even Mings, all right, let's say Villa went down, but they still want good money for him. He's international now, England international. Ben Yedder would be very expensive. They wouldn't be looking to let him go for a very cheap amount of price as well. So, let's get some more in here. I'm going to get a few more in. There's somebody else having a go at me, Ahmed, saying, Robbie, please stop trying to make Saka change his position. What position has been the best for Saka this season? Not what position his preferred position. Where has he looked the best? Exactly, you agree with me. At the left back. Ake for 20 million, Partey for 50 million, Coutinho on loan. All right. I'm glad. I like the way you've sort of put a price to it. So I like that. That makes a bit of sense. Tadic, Timo Werner. Tadic, Tomori, and Tino Werner. How we can Tomori? There you go. Sell Chelsea. There you go. Sell Tomori. Tadic has done well at Ajax, but he's knocking on a bit. He's quality, but he's knocking on a bit. And Tino Werner, it's just not going to happen coming to Arsenal. Where are we going to get the money to sign Werner? He'd be very, very, very expensive. And I think we'd have to have Champions League football to have any chance of that. Alaba or Upamecano, Tonali or Partey. Alaba, I think, would definitely want to go to a Champions League club and would be very expensive. And then, of course, we know, Partey would be very expensive. Umtiti, a shout. Again, a player that, Barcelona may be willing to let him go for sure. So he would definitely be a shout. I'm going to do a couple more now. Depay would be a great, as an attacking option. He can play everywhere up front. He's had a very good season, Depay, playing over there in France. I think, he when he first went to Manchester United, it didn't work out for him, but definitely I think he's quality. And I think he is a very good player. Again, though, would be very, very expensive. Upamecano, Partey, and Traore from Wolves. That would be three very, very expensive. I mean, you're talking about, Traore alone, you're talking about 60, 70 million they'd want from him now. He's had a great season. Partey, 50 million. Upamecano, 50, 60 million. I know Stan says he's going to put in a cash injection, but he ain't going to be nowhere near that. And the cash injection may be more to be dealing with the staff and stuff like that and keeping everything afloat. So more than, that actual cash injection going to transfers. But the reason why I've been doing this debate is because that's what Mikel Arteta has been saying. He is after these three type of players. Let me get one more. Majin says, we need a Tobias replacement and midfield would be too slow and static with Xhaka and Partey as a pair. So that's very, very interesting. Listen, thanks very much for watching the show. As I said, do not forget to support our big initiative that's starting tomorrow, 24-hour live stream, Football Fans for the NHS. We've got so many guests coming on tomorrow. It's unbelievable. You've got to get involved. We're going to be raising money for the NHS. We're going to be going for 24 hours talking football. I've got people from all different teams coming on to represent. We're going to be having lots of banter tomorrow. It's going to be crazy here. So make sure you get involved in that. And thanks very much for everybody who's got involved today. Been fantastic response as usual. We're going to be back tonight with the evening show, and we'll have a special guest on that as well tonight. So look out for that. But thanks. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you later.